My life began because of the meeting of a Greek lady named Stella with big curly hair. She was a nurse. And a James Bond lookalike named Graham. He was a businessman to do with IT, I think. On July the 30th, around 4 a.m, Stella lay in a birthing pool, arms flailing everywhere, pushing out the best human being ever to walk the earth. This human being was me, obviously. I swam out, looking dramatic, screaming wah, and apparently I was slightly flushed. As my mother held her new baby girl, my older brother came in looking really shocked and confused, holding a toy gun, which the hospital didn't approve of, I hear. And he was just generally quite confused by this baby, and used to sing Lily Has No Willy. Due to my parents' jobs, they were away a lot, so my granddad used to take care of me. I'm sure he is the source for all my creative brilliance. He used to teach me how to draw, and this was incredible for little Lily. Around the age of 3, my family decided to get a lovely little cocker spaniel we named Milo after the dog from The Mask. Even though it's a boy's name, we weren't really that fussed. And in my Snow White dress, I used to read books to her, even though I couldn't even read at the time, and I remember having chickenpox. Around this time as well, the family started to notice that one of my eyes was turning in, so they were like, right, to the doctors. The conclusion of this was to have an operation, and I vividly remember the mask being put on my face with all the doctors' faces, and the mask smelt of bubblegum. The operation was a success, and my eye was now straight. A little bit red to begin with, but I was fine with that. Couldn't see through my bad eye. They put a patch on my good eye, and I used to get so stressed I just couldn't see anything. So then they had another solution to put glasses on with a big magnifying glass over my bad eye, and I still couldn't see. So I just accepted the fact that I only had one eye of use. Before my mum and dad got together, he had a first marriage where he had 2 daughters named Nina and Lisa, and they're about 10 and 11 years older than me. And every weekend they would come round with magazines and chocolates, and this was super exciting for little Lily. One of my favourite memories from when I was younger was spending time with all my family. I used to adore it. We all used to take trips together. Specifically in my memory, obviously, I have very good memories of being in Disneyland Paris, and I just had the time of my life. When I was about 7, because of my dad's work, we all had to move to Holland, and we ended up moving to this weird house on a llama farm that had peacocks, and the llamas used to like spit at us and stuff. It was so strange. Another strange thing about Holland was that my teacher looked like Jesus, and all the mums just wanted a piece of Jesus. I mean, who wouldn't? Come on, he's like God's son, I don't know. Another strange aspect of Holland, every weekend it seemed we used to visit this theme park called Dunrail, and everything was frog themed. No exaggeration there at all. We only lived in Holland for a year, and around the time, if you were going back to the UK, if you had pets they went in quarantine, so my mum had this brilliant idea of putting our pets in a suitcase, drilling holes in it, and sedating them and training them to get used to this. She is such a rebel, but I'm so glad she did it. When I was younger, I did love a bit of attention. I probably do now, hence the YouTube videos, but whatever. So my family built me a stage in our home with these jungle-themed curtains, and I used to come up with all these crazy stories and characters. One was called Joe. He wore an afro and would sing, "I'm the Joe." Also, I used to miss school a lot to continue these adventures on my own, and I remember being in the garden, regardless of the weather, coming up with all these cool stories about fairies at the time of my life. One day when I was home from school, I went onto my brother's N64 to beat his Yoshi game, and I couldn't pause it, so I just sat there and wet myself. I had so much fun with my brother when we were younger. I remember one time we were digging in the garden and found this bird skull, and we screamed and ran away. Due to my theatrical nature, my family decided to let me go to theatre school for 3 years. This was amazing. Got to be on TV, do all these different dances stuff. I even did a little synchronised swimming on the side. Around this time as well, my dad decided to quit his job and move home. So he moved from our bigger house to a smaller house with round windows. And this was because he hardly saw us and it was just better for his health and well-being to be at home. And I loved having my dad at home. He'd always help me with school projects. He was like my hero. Around this time as well, it seemed as though every single female in my family was suddenly having babies. It suddenly made our family grow quite significantly, but we loved it because it made us even crazier having all these cretins running around. After being at theatre school for 3 years, I noticed my brother was doing so well educationally, and at theatre school it didn't really matter about your marks. So I went to school, same one as my brother, and I made all these incredible friends. They were all amazing people. I was super happy, but this school had a lot of judgmental bitches, and this kind of knocked Lily's self-esteem quite a lot. Regardless of these horrible people, it was outweighed by the incredible times I shared with these friends, drinking on Primrose Hill, underage, whatever, going to festivals, going to gigs. We had the time of our lives. We finally found a public vicinity to house us underage cretins for the drinking, and it ended up this place being a gay pub. And this was hilarious because every once in a while there'd be a drag queen karaoke show, and this would be bundles of joy. All of my friends I'd made stayed at school for sixth form, but you know, the independent choice maker I am, I decided to go to college to pursue my creativity, as at that school it didn't really matter if you were creative, so I went to do art, photography and drama, and I was so nervous and excited because I didn't know anyone. It was around this time as well that I discovered the YouTube land and community and the vlogging and everything, and I was just like, this is amazing, I have to get involved. So I did, and I loved it. My second year of college proved to be a very difficult one because it turned out that my parents decided to get a divorce, and this broke my heart completely. This time is a bit of a blur for me. I just remember being sad a lot of the time. The positive from this, though, is that me and my mum ended up going to stay at my grandma's house as my brother was still at uni. And this was great because it meant that my grandma, my mum and I became really super close, and I really am happy about that now. Because of my parents' divorce, I did lose quite a lot of motivation at college, but my art teacher was like, Lily, you can do it! And he encouraged me to apply for an art foundation, and I got in, and I was so happy that I had this amazing teacher, Jonathan. He was a great guy. So I went to Canterbury for my art foundation, and I had so many incredible lady friends who I lived with, studied with. I had so much fun doing all these different creative projects every week. I loved it. This was the best year ever. This year at Canterbury really helped me be a lot more positive, and this was reflected in my self-esteem. Suddenly one day I was just kind of like, I'm actually okay. This might have helped to do with the fact that I got into like pin-up ladies in the 50s and stuff, and I've always been quite curvaceous, so I was really happy with the way I looked, and I'm so glad I had this random revelation. Before I knew it, Canterbury was over, and it was time to start my degree, so I decided to go back to London and conquer. Around this time as well, more problems with my eye started occurring, so it started to turn out, because of my operation I had about 10 years ago, the solution for this was to have injections into my eye while I was awake every 3 months, which is very traumatic, I'll have you know. I still have it, but it made me feel better about myself. I began my first year at uni in London, and this was, a combination of awkwardness. I don't really know anyone. Let's not really care about our grades because they don't count. Let's steal trolleys. And then the summer between first year and second year, I landed this incredible job taking underwater portraits of children, and I was the assistant, so I was basically the one, holding the children and drowning them. But I promise you, I made it fun for the children, and it wasn't as crazy as it sounds. My second year started, and this got difficult again because my mum had some sad news. My dad's health and well-being wasn't too good again, and this made Lily really super stressed. And I even wanted to leave uni. My priorities were all over the place. I was just thinking about my family. Uni work was leading up. I was just staying with my family, still paying rent for my uni house. So I was just completely broke and unmotivated. Around the same time though, I met a lovely man named Will, who's now my boyfriend, and he has a big beard and a big heart. And he was just like, Lily, you can do it. And he encouraged me to stay, and I'm so thankful for this. Now I've just finished my second year, and it's now the summer for me, so I'm hoping to land a wonderful job like last summer to do with something creative and something fun. And I'm gonna get the YouTube channel on the way because I love doing it. It makes me really happy. I've kind of got this new positive input to my life. Only good things come to me and stuff. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and stuff. See you later!